How you doing, folks? That tune again, what a tune that is, gets you buzzing for the game. Welcome to Countdown to Kick-Off show on LFC Daytrippers. I'm Conroy, and it's myself and Daz today previewing the West Ham game. A bit buzzing for it already, Daz, I've got to be honest, mate. Looking forward to it. How are you feeling? How are you feeling towards this game? Nervous, excited?
Likewise, Conroy, excited for this, buzzing for today. Can't wait. Last game before the international break. Huge game. Obviously, 2 points we would have felt dropped last week at home. And we come out with a great response. There was intensity, urgency, energy against Atletico. And I think if we come out with that intensity, urgency, energy, all the right things today from the get-go, we will get 3 points today. But it's against a very, very informed and really good West Ham team. I see him coming into the game, only Chelsea and Man City have got more points so far in 21 this calendar year than West Ham. So that shows the progress they've made. And look, we've all had a bit of banter with David Moyes in the past, haven't we? Obviously, he's managed Everton and United, our rivals and neighbours. But credit where credit's due. He's doing an unbelievable job at West Ham, and they're a great outfit this season. Look, they don't score a huge amount of goals, but they also don't concede. But what they do get is they get a lot of wins. And today, just the game before the international break, it's going to be a tough game away there, you know. What's your thoughts today, Conroy? Big shout out there to Kev. Good afternoon, bro.
Yeah. Avelford as well, just saying good afternoon everyone, and say just adding about true LFC Daytripper lateness. Well, listen, that's why we're on. No, all jokes aside, I think Daz, we had a few things just the background, setting up the ticker and stuff, and waiting, making sure we got the team through and it was all set up. So yeah, as usual, a few minutes. I would say half three, between half three and 25 to is a good scope to judge it. But on the game, Daz. Yeah, I'm feeling, I said before, like, maybe I'm exaggerating, but I do feel that West Ham this season, West Ham away on paper with their form, for me, is close to being against a top 4 team, or at least a top 5 team, because I feel like a few teams will lose the season. You've already seen Man City in the League Cup get put out. Tottenham aren't great, don't get me wrong, but that's a big derby for them, winning that. And I feel like they will beat, or at least get points off the other kind of teams in the top 6 this year. So I think it's a massive game today, and especially with what happened yesterday, we can maybe play it down if we want, but we failed to capitalise last weekend. Let's just highlight, we failed to capitalise against Brighton with City losing. And today, again, we can't make that mistake twice, have to capitalise today. As you say, going into international break as well, we've got another one, Daz, somehow. I don't know how we're here again for it's the third international break already. However, today's a massive game. The results have gave us a chance. Thanks to Burnley, many Liverpool fans wouldn't say that in the past, but thanks to Burnley, we've been given quite quickly after failing last weekend to capitalise this weekend. So it's a massive game today, huge game for me, one of the biggest of the season. Because I think if we get a result today, we really can put ourselves in a great position. Chelsea will drop points. I've told you before, they've had a very good run now, and I think someone told me this week that I think it was Kev actually said they've got a big congestion, quite difficult fixtures, I think, after the new year. So we get 1 point behind them. It's amazing. It'd be a great result. So that's just my feelings towards it, mate. But what's your feelings towards the actual lineup selected?
No real surprises. I probably thought, like a lot of people, maybe Thiago was going to come in for Ox, but Ox is now available. I think midweek we obviously spoke on this about how nervous were we, are we excited or whatever. And I was a little bit excited to see Ox, and I wasn't that nervous, and I did emphasise that before the Atletico Madrid game. I thought he was good against Atletico, so I think he's worthy of a start today. Obviously, Thiago's only come back into training. I think it was just before the game against Brighton, so he's obviously not 100%. He come on against Atletico, and you could see snippets of how good he is. But I'm with Fabinho in there, with Henderson in there. You know, you can throw anybody else in there, and you're always confident. Salah, Jota, Mane up front, obviously leading the line. Firmino, well, for me, is a loss. His ball retention, getting back, being that extra option. This season, he's obviously scored goals and he's made assists, and he's been a bit different for us this season. But I do now feel that it's a great chance for the likes of Taki or Divock Origi to step in now, because I think we'll see a bit more of them. I'm not saying they're going to start games competitively in the Premier League or Champions League, but you'll see them playing a bit more and coming on games. And now it's a great chance for them, particularly Minamino, who goes out on loan, comes back now, does well in the League Cup. It's a great goal scoring record in them, and has played very little for us. But if he can get some game time, it's a great chance now for him to reshuffle and rethink for Jurgen Klopp in terms of going forward, because he can keep those 4 lads on their toes. And we spoke before about how good our front 3 is. Jota comes in, breaks that up now. He's in the mix, and you're talking about a front 4. 3 out of them 4 play, Conroy. You know yourself, you're always confident it's give or take who plays who and what game. But overall today, Matip's back in at centre back with Van Dijk, the 2 full backs, the best in the world. Alisson's there, so I'm pleased enough for the starting lineup. What do you think? Are you pleased? Or are you?
Yeah, well, I'll get into that in a sec, but I just wanted to, MC's comment here was quite a good one. He's asking Conroy, do you think Ox is starting because of his recent performance, or do you think it's because Thiago isn't fully fit? I'll ask you in a sec, Daz. For me, I think it's a really good point, MC. I think it's a bit of both, to be perfectly honest. I think with Thiago playing 30 minutes the other night, he probably thought to himself, let's try and ease him back into the game. However, if Ox had not had a very great performance at centre midfield, I think Thiago does come in. But I think it kind of answered the question for him, because if you actually rewatch the game, Ox had a great game. It wasn't just a good game. If you actually break it down and rewatch it, I think you sometimes forget, because Trent's crosses set up the 2 goals. And Manny obviously had a great performance, but Ox was superb. Even running by people, consistently taking us into new areas, beating that man to create overloads for the wide areas. By him taking away that centre midfielder, he was.
There, Conroy. I think Conroy's just frozen us there, but he obviously was talking about Ox performance. Absolutely, it was brilliant midweek. You want to throw in the comments there. I think he Ox came in against Atletico. Obviously, it was very controversial as to how he was going to do or not do, and he's come in and done brilliant. I think, sorry, Conroy, just cut off there for a few seconds.
I was just saying there. Where did I finish at? I
was just elaborating on what you were saying about Ox. So Ox obviously comes in midweek. He comes on against Brighton. He gets an assist. He does okay. Then the rest was poor. The rest was poor. Yeah, it was. When he come on, he has that assist. Does okay. And then was very poor. So obviously there was midweek selection was a bit, Ox comes in, but he done brilliant. You're right, he was great in that game. And when you reflect on it, he was fantastic in that game. It was a perfect response. And look, he's worthy of a start today, isn't he?
No, I would say so. And I think maybe just to add to MC's comment as well, he's got a really, really good record against West Ham, specifically at the Olympic Stadium. Even when he's not been in great form, he scored there a few times. He played well there a few times. So but no, it was. I think it's a great shout, and I think Ox hopefully does well today, because I think we all kind of root for Ox as well. Just to add, it's always cold in Scotland. No one the Conroy froze.
That's good.
To be fair, it is quite cold. It was. It was okay this weekend. And Thursday it was an ice box. The car was an ice box. I had to get a de-icer out. So fair play though, Avo. That's a good comment, mate. Comments are always quite quick. And
good response, Avo. Yeah,
I knew as soon as I froze for a second there, a wee buffer, it was going to be a comment. But
very observant.
Yeah, no, brilliant. But I think Kev also added to the Ox thing. I think Ov gives you that option as someone midfield and carry the ball as well as take possession over. Absolutely. And I think, be perfectly honest, on form, I think he's the best at beating someone in our midfield. Like, to actually, because football is quite simple. If someone's got a block or whatever, and you take it past the man, that takes a player out of the equation, which means someone else has to come to the ball. So therefore, it creates space in other wide areas, i.e., if Oxman beats a man there, the left and the right, mainly the right, in the way he's usually running, it allows your Trent, your Hendo, and Salah to get space there. So I think it's a really good option today. So on the rest of the squad, Daz, I think you'd asked me, I feel like Fabinho coming back, massive, he's our man. He's one of the best DMs in the world. You're obviously going to love him coming back. And then you've got Matip, who keeps his place, which I was kind of unsure. I said Konate in my preview. However, I love Matip. I think he's brilliant. So I think Klopp just went with the same again, because he knows
relied upon experience.
That experience to deal with Antonio as well. I think he's maybe went with that over.
Well, that's it as well, Conroy. Touching on Antonio, I mean, he's in form, isn't he? He's the one to watch. He's a handful up front, and
he's always in form against us, mate. He's got a great record against us. Yeah,
he's doing well though this season, particularly. And as I said, West Ham are doing unbelievable. I think this season you have Liverpool, you have Chelsea, you have City there, and I think just below that, and slightly below it, because West Ham are only 2 points behind us on 20. You have West Ham there. Then I think they're the head of Spurs this season. United, Everton,
I think they'll get safe, man.
And Worthy, I'm not saying like that they're not going to be there come the end of the season. I think this West Ham team actually can have a real good shot at trying to get in the top four this season.
I
But
think
look,
they
it's
can.
going to
I
be
think
tough.
they can, mate. Yeah, I really think they can. I think they can make it. I feel like if United keep Solskjaer, and it looks like that's going to happen. I've heard some rumours about Rodgers. We'll not get into that, but I don't think they will keep Solskjaer. I think he will. But if they do keep him somehow, I don't see why West Ham can't get in the top four.
Absolutely.
People talk about what Arteta's done and stuff, and that's good, but they're against Watford today, and I wasn't massively impressed, to be honest. I think they'll still drop points.
I
think
agree.
The only thing I'd say West Ham is they'll need to take. I think they'll cause trouble they'll take some points off our rivals going forward. So yeah, it's easy to say they'll make the top 6, top 5, but I don't see why they can't make the top 4. But yeah, absolutely, I think Matip coming in makes a lot of sense. I wouldn't have minded Kanate. However, I understand Matip completely. What about Robbo coming back in for Tsimikas, Daz? What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I think, look, that Robbo's the best. He's the best left full in world football for me, and I think he's very experienced and consistent at Liverpool. I think Tsimikas, when he's come in, to be fair, done really well. I think he was great against Atletico. We only spoke about that in the pre-match against Atletico. We're all waxing lyrics about Tsimikas, but Robbo, yeah, look, he was rested against.
But Tsimikas will go at someone. That's the problem now. Robbo's not going at anybody. I don't know what it is now, but he's not. It's not even like he dribbles. He's not even amazing. He's not even amazing dribbling past players, but he used to always kind of do for the 1-2, make the run to get in the space to whip it in.
Well, he's done a lot less of that, hasn't he? Particularly,
and even when he gets the chance to, he's playing it safe all the time instead of just like. I mean, I remember, if you remember the PSG game for Daniel Sturridge's goal, no backlift, just whips it in, gets the chance. And
is it a case now, though, Conroy, that, and look, I don't think it's a stupid thing to say, but people might argue against it, that now that there's real stiff competition coming in for Robbo and he's being kept on his toes, which, to be fair, in the past he wasn't really, is he just feeling that bit more pressure? And
I
don't
know, Daz, because you're talking about a guy who's consistently played well, and it's not like he was never like a Tierney where he's constantly trying to beat players, but he would always at the right time make that forward run and whip it in. And at times now there's certain games where you can do that. I understand the top 4 games. Sometimes you have to be more conservative, but
you be a bit more. He's
just not, but it's not even a Liverpool thing. For Scotland as well, he's doing it. It has been better for Scotland. He's actually been pretty good for Scotland, but I just feel like you've got Tsimikas, who's hungry, who's coming in, who's equivalently just.
He's back. He's trying to beat
players. But people talk about Robbo's crossing's not been good recently, but Robbo's crossing is good. He just seems to be trying. I don't know. It just doesn't seem to be working. Possibly, I know Laura Duffy said in the last stream that he's maybe been overplayed and he needs a rest. But I have came out and said this. I think today, I did say he would play, but I do think it's his last chance of stopping this being a conversation going forward. If you get what I'm saying. If he has a great game today, it'll just kind of go back to the way it is. However, if he gives Tsimikas a bit more rope again to take it, what will happen is there's going to be more and more people question it. Like, it's very obvious Tsimikas has been good all season, but I've said this numerous times. You had people last week coming out against Atletico like this was news, like, oh, this is a battle on. Tsimikas has been brilliant so far all season, so I don't know why people are waiting until that game. But I just think today, I always thought Robbo was going to start, but you can't hide it anymore. Tsimikas is hungry. He's not playing with any fear, and he's getting balls in the box that are causing trouble. And Robbo, as of late, really hasn't done that. And to add to that, defensively, he's not been amazing. In some games, he has had good games in between that. It's been more inconsistency than anything. But when it comes to actually creating chances, he's not been the same this season. That might be because he's been overplayed. Because, to be honest, the guy has played more games than a lot of others.
But played a lot, He's played an awful lot.
I'm not surprised he played today, because you can also add, I think Klopp said during the week he was the best left back in his eyes in the world. But then also you've got the idea of Jared Bowen in that front three who've been moved.
I was just going to touch on that. So it's a tough competitor to be up against, isn't it? Because Bowen obviously was linked with us. We were all like, we think it'd be a great sign, a great option to come into us. So he's having a good season. He's getting goals, but he's a handful. He's very flighty, creative, a lot of flair up front. So it'd be a tough contest today for the two fullbacks, I think, because you've obviously Barama there and Antonio as well, who, like, Antonio is going to, Virgil and Matip will have to be on their A game, obviously, against him today, because he's no fair. And I heard Declan Rice's interview as well after the draw at Genk the night, that they've nothing to lose coming into today. So they're going to be aggressive, they're going to be hungry, and the pressure's on us, I feel, today, because West Ham are probably doing better than a lot would have predicted. I mean, the last time we played them, there was a big split in that fan base about the owners, about Moyes. Now it all seems to be together and everybody's kind of on the same, singing off the same hymn sheet, if we say, with West Ham and the supporters. So I do think today there's pressure on us to get this win, particularly after last week. But I think, look, we come out of these situations normally great. We always do come out with a response. I think midweek was a brilliant response. And look, it's the last game before the international break. As you said, it's a good chance to capitalise. With Chelsea dropping points yesterday, and to be only a point behind them and go back to the way it was pre-Brighton, which, yeah, it's very good. If you're looking well, if we get a win today, but we're going to have to work for it today. It's going to be a game that you have to go out and give it absolutely everything right from the get-go and be up for this.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Kev was just adding, I think he was suggesting that because Sadio's playing more central, the reason for Robbo was maybe lack of creativity. Fair point, Kev, but then I would say when Tsimikas has played, he showed much more ability to get by, and that's ability that Robbo's had, because when he came in from Moreno, done the exact same thing. And I feel like, listen, see, to be honest, if he's sound defensively, that's great, and that we can say that's brilliant. But I do think when it comes to attacking side, it's been mediocre and needs to be better. This is elite standard of football. He needs to be better, because I think today's got a chance to shut down those questions coming up. But to be perfectly honest, I hope he does. But I know someone's MC added, do you think Robbo will be wrecked, especially playing Scotland next week? I understand that he needs a rest, MC, but you know what? Even for Scotland, though, he has put good performances in, like with Liverpool as well. But just at times with Liverpool, it seems to be he's never been one to be gun-ho. He has played it back, played central, keep the ball moving, constantly moving, because that's why it works, right? Instead of Trent, he'll sometimes mix it up a bit or maybe go for the pass quickly, the diag. But there is times where it's like he used to always know when, he was so calculated, he'd know when to make the run in behind so he'd get the space. I just feel like it's not been consistently working at the moment. So
a little bit more pragmatic, isn't he, this season at times?
He's always been that to a certain extent, but he used to just add that run in. You know, I mean, you look at the Watford assist. That's the best example. He does a 1-2, I think, with Mane and beats Salah and finds Salah at the back post. But he doesn't like whip it in 100 times. He'll be calculated, as you say, and find his moments. So it might be the games. I understand that, but maybe I'm biased. But from my point of view, I just know the level he can play at attacking wise. The guy's got 40 assists in the Premier League, folks. Right, that's more than Dennis Irwin, right? Gary Neville, Ashley Cole. The only one.
Some of the best fullbacks that was out there.
The GOAT for assist is probably Leighton Baines. I think he got 53.
So it's he was around a lot longer though. You know, over that's probably over.
We're saying that. But if Robbo wants to catch that, he's going to have to keep getting those games. And I just feel like maybe everyone's right. He needs that break, but I
agree with you. I just think, look, the competition, in my opinion, is Tsimikas has come in and he's that bit more aggressive, hungry, and in a way, there's nothing really to lose for Tsimikas, because he probably always felt, particularly last season, he played very little. This season, he comes in, he always knows Robbo's going to be ahead of him, you know, and we've all seen that clearly. Look, I don't think it's been a debate really in my eyes for Robbo and Tsimikas. I think Tsimikas is very good, and Robbo at times being a bit pragmatic, but I think Robbo's playing a lot more. There's a lot more relied upon Robbo. When the going gets tough, will Tsimikas still be doing what Tsimikas is doing at the moment?
Yeah, so, mate, but you see that, I get that, mate, right? But we cried about Nathaniel Klein, who was amazing defensively, but he didn't offer enough in attack. This is a top team. We need to stop changing the goalpost. He's been great at doing both sides. He needs to continue being great at both sides. This comment's true. The one thing I would say is we're putting too much emphasis on finding the perfect balance for a cross. If we've played football, it's not that difficult to beat a man and put it in that area. It doesn't need to be right on the money. Tsimikas' cross is not always on the money, but it's in that area. And Robbo's really been struggling with
Robbo's crosses have been always poor, even like when he's in the box going for a shot and goal, or
no, this season. But he's a good crosser though. He's a very good crosser, but not this season. I think it's like
trying to beat the front man though.
Yeah, well, no, from corners, but I think what they're saying is in play crosses, and they say Tsimikas' foot is a lot better. Yeah. I would disagree with that for crossing anyway, because if you look back, Robbo's always been good at crossing for Liverpool. If you want to say technical ability, that's not news. I mean, if you watch any show I've been on for the past 2 years, anyone watch Oxlade-Chamberlain interview, Robbo's never been technically a great footballer. He's a great left back. But so there'll be lots of players who are technically better. We all know that. But as his left foot, I would say it's maybe more cultured Tsimikas for doing diagonals. I would agree with that. But when it comes to crossing, I just think Tsimikas is hungry right now, and Robbo just seems to be overthinking every cross, because that, when you say it overhit and underhit, that's a really good example. So Yeah,
I think hungry is a good way
and
to sum
anyone,
it up.
yeah, I know, I agree with that absolutely. He
Bravo,
can't. He's maybe
yeah.
he's actually scored some goals, to be fair to him, but when it comes to outside the boxes, he cannot shoot. I'll agree with that. That's not going to get better. I can assure you. That's
He
not going
got
to
a
get
few
better.
headers as well, wasn't it? Burnley at home, Villa away. He got
Yeah, no,
nice header back post.
he did. Yeah, I don't want to get in a
A Robbo
Tsimikas
debate.
Robbo, yeah. But I'm just saying, like, I'm trying to be unbiased to say this. I think this is a chance today, but I completely agree. Just Tsimikas looks much hungrier. He does have better corners. He actually, ironically, I said Tsimikas had the best corners out of Trent and Robbo, and he played against Atletico Madrid, and both his corners were terrible right in the keeper's arms. So that must have been my fault for jinxing it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think they are different. But what I was meaning is, I just think he's overthinking it when it's coming to crossing now, and I just think he needs to add that, because if he doesn't, listen, it's only a matter of time. I'm telling you right now, because yeah, Tsimikas just looks hungrier. So hopefully he can prove that today and show what he's about. So we'll see. But don't want to make that a Robbo thing.
It's a huge game, though. It's huge for a lot of these lads. Like I just said, Robbo to prove himself, and I think overall defensively as well today, it'd be great to go to West Ham, obviously win. Big shout out, Paulie, and it'd be great as well to go back to keeping a clean sheet, wouldn't it? What result? But look, I mean, today is not about clean sheets and forms. It's just about getting away from West Ham today, I believe, with 3 points. I know we're unbeaten in the last 10. I think it's 10 league games, Conroy. We might have drawn 8 or we might have won 7 or 8 and drawn 2 or 3 against them.
I think at the Olympic Stadium, Daz, we've not lost. We've drew 1, and I think we've won 3 or 4.
We've slaughtered them. I think last season was 3-1, and we weren't even brilliant. It was 4-0. Wasn't it one of the seasons?
Yeah, last season, we weren't great last season. I know we'd had good spells, but bear in mind, we scored the first goal. Antonio misses a sitter, then we go up the park from a break, and Curtis Jones comes on, passes to Salah, and he scores. But
remember he with Milner and Klopp on the sideline.
Yeah, I know, but Antonio does miss a sitter just before that. I'd say previous years, but that's because of the team we had playing last year.
We've good record going there. That's probably the only thing coming in today. We've slaughtered them there a few times and played well. But look, it's this West Ham team today that they're a machine. I think they're a really, really good team, and I think you can talk them as being serious contenders for the top 4. Look, a lot of people might disagree because it's still relatively early in the season, but I like what they're doing, and I think they're so compact, so composed. They'll show a lot of urgency today, and they'll be real never give up attitude, and they'll fancy their chances today against Liverpool. But we have to be bang on it.
Yeah, no, on that, Dad, I just wanted to ask a question before we get into score predictions, and everyone in the comments, put your prediction for the score now. But I wanted to ask you, Daz, on talking about West Ham, they're playing like the 4-2-3-1 today with Rice, Souček, and Benrahma, Fornals, and Bowen behind Antonio. Now, but in previous years, they have been quite pragmatic or conservative, and especially against the top 6 teams. Maybe this season, if you look at United game, for example, do you think they'll be quite similar against us? Because obviously we're a much better team than United. But I did realise, I spoke to a West Ham fan, and they were brave against City in the League Cup game. Like, they tried to beat the press. So how do you see them going about that today? Do you think they'll sit back, or do you think they will look at what Brighton done and try and be brave?
I think it's a good question, but I think they will try and be brave, because, as I said, and even Declan Rice said it, they've nothing to lose. I mean, they're like, if they lose today, they'll have, if you mark their season out of 10, you'll say so far for West Ham standards it's a 9 out of 10. You'd really be pleased with them. Doing well in Europe, beat United and City in the League Cup. They're into the quarters. Flying in the Premier League, as I said, I think they're the team just behind City, Liverpool, and Chelsea. So, I think, look, be brave today. If you're giving West Ham any advice or suggestions, not that we're going to be, but it's be brave, have a go, and maybe it might suit Liverpool as well. That could play into our hands. It could be better rather than being a bit more cautious or pragmatic and trying to get us in the counter attack. But it's a very good question, Conroy, because I don't really know. Obviously, we won't know until the game starts how they're going to go about it. But I would imagine that I would tip them to be a bit brave, like what Brighton were, because, like, obviously Brighton as well are a very good side, and some people didn't realise till they drew against us that a good side, but we've been saying it a long time.
If you watch the first 5 minutes against Brighton, they had Solly March bombing forward against their high line. Like, Brighton were very brave, and I don't think actually enough people are talking about how brave they were,
absolutely.
because they played the false 9, but they actually had lots of bodies joining continuously. So I don't think everyone's going to be that brave. That's what I'm saying. They go 2-0 down because of that. However, I don't know if West Ham will do the same. I think Daddy Pig just shouted saying West Ham going to 4-2-3-1. At least they're going to play against us and not just sit back. could be that case. But then Kev does add as well. Kev's thoughts on it was he thinks West Ham will sit back and count for the first 20 and then see where the game's at and then grow into it. That's a good
point,
shout as well.
Very
That's
good.
a good shout. Both good shouts though, because I can understand because to be fair, if you watch when West Ham have been brave going with 4-2-3-1 in other games, but I also know that Moyes has kind of had a mixed pass once he came to these games because sometimes he gets it spot on. I know West Ham had beat Chelsea, I think, with Arnautovic a couple of years ago, doing that. It worked really well. It's a hard one because I think he's evolved, but he's trying to find that balance.
Yeah, he has. Yeah, and he's never been one for like teams playing unbelievable football or attacking. He's always been a bit pragmatic. But look, this season they're reaping the rewards for being a bit braver. And I expect them maybe to be a bit brave, but Kev throws in that point there. It's a very good point from Kev O'Sullivan that they might just be a bit more pragmatic first 20 minutes, weather that storm, because I think we will go out with intensity and energy, and let's see where it goes from there. But I suppose we won't really know until the game starts, but it's a matter of opinions, isn't it? But we'll see, Conroy.
You see that, ironically though, see the teams we've won, even against Atletico, they probably found space quite early against us. And then we kind of took control. But I wouldn't say we're not always the quickest in the sense of the first 5 minutes. We seem to score and then it kind of calms down. But yeah, I agree. I actually agree with Kev. I think it will be Moyes will kind of see where it's at first 20, and then we'll see how it goes. But from that formation, it doesn't look like they're going to do the 4-3-3 that some people thought they might do. They might put an extra player in midfield. So it'll be interesting. But on score predictions then, Kev, and then we'll get into who you think your player of the match will be. Sorry, Daz, not Kev, because I'm saying Kevin Daz there. Kevin Perry go large, that movie. I'm mixed up with that. Daz, what's your score prediction for today?
I'll go for us to win. I think it'll be tight. I think, look, we're playing a side that's very composed, compact, as you just mentioned. They don't score a lot, don't concede a lot, but they've been winning a lot. 2-1 Liverpool. I'm going to back us to get 2. I think the front three against Atletico are very good. Obviously, Mane is getting kicked around. He comes off at half time. Bobby comes on. But I think when Jota's in the team, we get goals. He's just a bit more clinical. He's a lot more clinical. I think when he's given half a chance, the more Salah, Mane,
his movement's just slightly different. It's not as if he hooks wide. He drops into that number 10 slot sometimes. The pockets just to create space for others. He's a very intelligent movement of a footballer.
He's brilliant, yeah. And I think we get 2 today. I think West Ham will score, although I've been on here a while ago giving the opposition goals and they haven't got it. So hopefully that continues today. But as Finners puts in there, clean sheet today, that'd be unbelievable for us. It'd be really because we've conceded a couple of goals this season. Similar to Atletico, we've been scoring loads, conceding.
Yeah, because Atletico played with 10 men for a lot of that game. So we still conceded a goal that was offside. So we played really well defensively, but I'm just saying. I do think a clean sheet in 2 games in a row would be very good for the confidence.
Yeah, and a good response to that. Obviously, 2 points we felt we would have lost against Brighton. So, win today, all that's kind of in the past, isn't it? And then we look forward then to come back. We've 2 big home games, Arsenal and Porto. Then when we return back after the break. So, it's just a little bit disappointing as well. With obviously the injuries now to add to another injury, Firmino looks like he's going to be out for a couple of weeks. It was a really bad timing. I know injuries are never good timing. But what's your score prediction for today, Conroy, and what way do you see it going?
I'm just saying some of the comments are good. Just before I get into mine, Avelford says 2-0 each half, 4-0. Mate, listen, if we had that, we'll be loving that. That would be great. Clean sheet as well. Paulie's always in the chat. I'm going to say what Paulie's saying. 2-0 for me. He's saying Jota and Hendo. I'm going for Jota and Salah for me. 2-0.
That's what we think. Jota
maybe Virgil, but I'll say maybe Virgil scoring steady, one of them, but probably not because it doesn't seem to be getting as many chances. Probably. Tariq says 2-0 as well. Good shout, mate. And Salah 2, Mane 2. Just fair enough, mate. I hope that happens. That would be great.
Yeah, it'd be great to go and destroy them again today, wouldn't it? Keep up a good record there and since they've moved to the London Stadium. I know a lot of the West Ham fans were going mad. They wanted Upton Park back. It wasn't the same, but there's things are looking well for them now, and I mean, for them to be in with a chance, we're into early now November before an international break of getting Champions League football and being in that conversation, that's some turnaround for them. So fair play to them, and fair play to David Moyes as well, because you do have to give respect to people when they turn things around and credit where credit's due.
Yeah, he doesn't fall into the kind of Pulis Allardyce managers. He is a good manager. If you look at what he'd done, I think he had a spell. Sociedad, Sunderland, didn't really work out. Kind of chucked him in with that, but then keeping West Ham up.
Well, if he hadn't managed United,
he came back
yeah,
again.
Exactly, yeah.
I think it showed that people forget what he'd done with Everton. Like getting him in the top 4
Yeah,
was a
he
massive
done
achievement.
unbelievable. It was 10 years there. I think if he hadn't been already a past manager at United, and obviously he's still doing things the way he is this season, he'd be probably talking about now going into the United job for Ole, you know. So it just shows where he's at. But
I think he maybe knows, he's learned that. I think, see a West Ham, that suits him in the sense of it's like Everton with that underdog kind of siege mentality. You're not going to make top 4. That won't happen. You just get brushed aside. I think he and even as a man manager, he's got depth in that team with Lanzini, Yarmolenko, Mazuaku on the bench, even like Nobob's doing his bits. Yeah, but he seems to have that touch of like getting them to buy into it as well, because like when I see like a Yarmolenko, I'm surprised that he would want to be starting every game, and you'd think he'd maybe throw his toys at the pram and go there, but he seems to have this balance. Even Lanzini's a quality player. He seems to have had that balance, and because of those maybe not failed signings, but they didn't work out when they signed those players, but it's working well now as depth for that team, because they are important. They'll come on. So yeah.
A lot of them have bought into his idea because they've still hung around as well. You know, I thought when, particularly in the summer just gone, we were going to lose some of them. So fair play to them. They've done great.
He seems to really have got that balance well. But Kev's just saying a wee 2 seconds before we get into the player of the game. Does Hendo 300 not out today? So just a wee comment on that. Just obviously outstanding by Jordan, Brian Henderson, and I don't know what else is to say about him. Leader, I think technically he's quite underrated as well. People say he's had a bad season. I think he's actually started. I think he's had inconsistent. I think he's had good moments and then a few bad games in a row. But for me, look at his win percentage when he plays. Henderson's just so pivotal to Liverpool, in my opinion.
He's unbelievable, he is. And that's touching on who I think will be pivotal today. I think the likes of him and Firmino midfield, you can put anyone in there, any of the other lads. And I think with the experience they have, with that aura, the energy, just how good they are, and the leadership of half the 2 generals in midfield. I don't think that, Fabinho seems to get a lot of credit, but Henderson as well in there with him, you know, you just, Henderson's there, you just know what you're going to get. And what I like about Henderson now is he's going a little bit more at goal. You know, he's getting a couple of goals, adding in a couple of assists to his game. So that's great to see. And he had a really good chance again against Atletico Madrid. We bumped it, but you know, he's putting himself in those positions, but he's getting better, isn't he? I think his game is growing.
He's definitely his confidence with shooting's better, because he scored against Milan the first time, half volley.
Cracking goals,
Brighton first time. So that he's adding that to his game, more consistently doing it. So just outstanding. Good comment by Kev, because I feel like he's just been deserves that.
I didn't know about that.
Just there's no many words. I think it's really just interesting now how he used to be the kind of the punchline, and now it's like all those fans who said that are kind of quiet now. There's opposition fans quite quiet. How Henderson's won a Champions League and the Premier League now. Quite quiet now. But it'll be an interesting one. But on the player of the game, just before we finish up, guys, and the comments have been great as well. Who do you think would be your player of the game? If you can add that in the comments. Daz, who's going to be the player to watch or the player of the game for you?
Fabinho comes in, unbelievable in that holding role. Good protection to the back 4. More confidence he adds to the back 5, including Alisson there. And also he gives more confidence and aura throughout the whole team. So the front 3, I think, get more reassurance with having him there. And obviously the 2 lads in midfield and Henderson, Knox. I think Fabinho today is going to be pivotal. I think he'll play a really important role if we're going to win. And he's
Justin agrees with you as well. Fabinho all day.
Fabinho all day. That's what I think. But what do you think, Conroy? Who's your player of the game today and one to watch?
I think absolutely Fabinho's a great shout. I will be watching intently with Ox to see if you can consistently jump. Just add that consistency. Just have a decent game. You don't even have to be amazing. Just be not poor. Just do what you're good at. Stick to your strengths. Don't need to try the Hollywood pass. You know, you're not amazing at that. Just beat the men, keep the simple passes, and drive. And hopefully you can have a good game.
And it also puts him. Sorry, Conroy, it also puts him. If he's a good game again today, consistently, it'll put him in the conversation after the international break. Should he be starting? You know, obviously with Keita out.
You want competition, mate. You want competition. Yeah. So for me, I'm going to say I'm going to watch Ox, but the one I think will stand out, I actually think I'm going to go for Sadio again. I think he's quite aggressive, angry now because he's not been playing every game, and he looked really good against Atletico. And when I mean that, it wasn't just getting centrally. I know Kev has mentioned that in the past. He's been effective centrally in getting goals, but I feel like he was beating players. He was getting down that byline, taking it on his left hand sides, and So Ox I'm going to watch, but for me, I think Sadio will have a good game. And I think Tariq was saying as well, hope Ox doesn't hide. Me too, mate. I just want him to get that bit of consistency. And I think we all are a wee bit more sentimental when it comes to Ox. We're just kind of rooting for the guy.
He showed tremendous attitude and belief and determination and resilience to come back from all the knocks and injuries he's had in the past. So I think, look, he does be considered in there with the real elite at our club at the moment, because obviously he hasn't had as many chances he would have liked because he's come back from injury. Then he's had setbacks with other knocks, and then other players of the club have had to probably being given a chance ahead of him. Because like Naby Keita, because Keita, who we're all a bit defensive about, when he's fit and ready, you want to see more of him. You want to see what he can bring. So he's been a bit unfortunate, Ox, and there is sentiment towards him. But now is his chance. He's doing okay since he's come back in.
He's frustrating, Ox. He is frustrating because it'll look like it's easy. He gets the assist against Brighton, easy straight. Just have a mediocre second half, and you'll get a 7 out of 10, and he has a poor second half. Like that is Ox for me summed up. He's frustrating as anything. But listen, we better get everyone ready because they'll need to go and get prepped and get their cups of tea for the game. But if you haven't, folks, subscribe to Daytrippers, and if you like the stream, it'd mean a lot. And obviously check out all their content. It's absolutely brilliant. Comments, these are outstanding as usual, absolutely brilliant. But Daz, and because of the comments have been so good, we'll do a quick wee question before we finish up like we did last week. Now, I'm not holding anyone up, it'll just be 2 minutes. We had movies last week, right? So we'll mix it up. We'll say, this year, who have you been listening to, Daz? Who's actually, no, that's maybe we'll talk about another time. Top five music artists. Name one of yours, Daz, and we'll do another one next week. So who's one of your top 5 music artists?
It'd have to be Liam Gallagher. Definitely in the top 5.
Would you put Oasis? That'd be Oasis then? Or
it'd be an Oasis thing. It would be. But I'm the type, Conroy, I don't like, I wouldn't be fascinated or real big into one band. I'd like a bit of music from all sorts to get me.
That's just your top 5, mate. I think it's really hard to say one, isn't it? Yeah.
It is hard, but definitely as one of the top 5, definitely, no doubt about it. Doesn't have to think too much about it. But getting to the first, the second one would be.
Enough. I think I think I'm going to actually Hampden to see Liam Gallagher and Kazabian, one of my mates actually.
Oh, brilliant.
So, I've seen him a few times as well, though. It's listen, to be perfectly honest, I think Noel goes that kind of different way, but Liam Gallagher sticks to Oasis stuff, and people just want to have a drink and listen to Oasis.
It's great.
They just want Oasis tunes, and you know what? Fair play to them. I love it. Get on the Neil Diamond, lads. Absolutely, mate. Honestly.
Money talks.
Brilliant. Yeah, exactly. For me, one of mine is I'll go with probably the band that one of the first album bands that when I was quite young I got into. I've got to say, Only by the Night, Kings of Leon. People always talk about You Somebody or Sex on Fire, but see that actual album, what an album that is. Like, they two aren't even the best songs in the album. Like, honestly, Cold Desert, Crawl,
good show.
Unbelievable band, and I've seen them a few times as well. Just unbelievable. And Kings of Leon for me are right up there. Just unbelievable band, live and their albums. I think they've got every album's been a UK #1 album as well. So I think like 6 or 7, maybe 6.
Brilliant. Yeah, it's a good show, Conroy.
Unbelievable band. We can talk more about Kings of Leon. Their story is quite amazing. But that's a nice wee question me and Dad's like to finish up on.
Absolutely,
Get your comments in, we'll check it, or leave the comments on the stream, we'll check it after what your kind of favourite bands or artists are. So folks, enjoy the game today. Hopefully we get the win. Anything else you want to say, Daz, before we go?
No, I'm just looking forward to it. Everybody enjoy it too. Thanks for throwing in the comments, the likes, and the Red Sea podcast is on after this as well. Tune into them for the match reaction. I think they're on instant match reaction. So I'm looking forward to it.
Good chat with the Red Sea.
Hopefully there's a lot of good talking points for them to bring up, with Thiago's father and that.
Really good chat. Check them out. I know they've been getting, just honestly, the guys are top, so check them out. But to everyone, take care. Folks is amazing. As always, comments have been brilliant. Let's just get the win. 5-0 this time, eh? We're not winning 5-0. Hopefully that works this time, all right? Take care, everyone. See you soon. Bye-bye.
Shout out. Enjoy.